Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show on this Tuesday night, the 5th of October. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, serving the entire tri-state area and beyond. And of course, with winter coming, salt is front and center. It's going to be hard to find and it's going to be expensive. And Omni will have the lowest prices around on rock salt, Pelleto, mag, ice, pellets, and flakes, and anything you need with regards to getting you through the upcoming winter. There again, give them a call, 631-756-1125. The best prices in town, OmniTrueValue.com. And Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs, whether it's Halloween or Christmas. Getting stuff in for Christmas now. They had their open house today for contractors, and it went quite well. And they've got everything to make your yard looking like the envy of the neighborhood. And the countdown to Christmas continues. Get yourself your own countdown clock when Santa visits at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York, 631-957-5106. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. And that's a nice sweater Mr. Rayo has on tonight.
A little coolish out there today, Joe.
Is it? Well, I didn't get to 70 today. I was drowning in rain all day long.
Well, we didn't have rain, but it was kind of a cloudy, dank kind of day today. And I think we're going to see another similar day. Although tomorrow, I think, as you were alluding to yesterday, I think tomorrow we might get a little bit of a brightening to the sky and maybe even a cameo appearance by the sun before the day is over. But not a big improvement or a vast improvement over what we had to deal with today. Today was just like, right straight on through from start to finish.
Well, once that front gets a little bit further to the south, get that cloud line to sink southward, I could already see some hints of drier air. Maybe it'll turn out to be a nicer day than you think. And Thursday, don't let Sal Blandino hear this. He's all fit to be tied over the onshore flow, but sometimes the onshore flow can work in your favor. It keeps you from getting hot, and if you get the northern high to kind of push down and get the dry air in, you could wind up with some rather nice weather. And I think that should certainly be the case if it's a decreasing clouds, increasing sun type of day tomorrow. We can look ahead maybe to Thursday. Thursday should be a pretty good day, and maybe it could hold on till Friday. Not that we're going to see any widespread rain at all anytime soon. I think you'll agree that the overall pattern is pretty much a snooze fest for the next 5 days plus. But I think the weekend you got to worry about whether the ocean low clouds come in and you get a little drizzle or maybe a shower, and then it takes forever for the clouds to burn out because the sun angle is so low. And then as soon as it breaks, maybe if the sun breaks through, then it's sunset and the clouds come back in, and you go through the process all over again on Sunday and again on Monday.
Yeah, many times at this time of the year, you get what basically are gorgeous afternoons with sunshine. However, the sun goes down and whatever moisture is around condenses back into low clouds and fog. You wake up the next morning and it's foggy, it's cloudy, it's dreary, and then you have to wait for all that to burn off again. And again, that's in part due, as you mentioned, Joe, to the much lower sun angle. This is now the 5th day of October, so we are now 2 weeks beyond thereabouts the fall equinox, which means now the sun is getting no higher in the sky than it usually does in the very beginning or the early part of March, and you don't have to wait too much longer before the sun is not going to get much higher than it does in February, another week or so. So that sun is descending. We talked about that on Sunday, and the days are getting shorter, and sunsets are coming earlier, and what are you going to do? That's part of it. Although front page news, Joe, today, at
Yeah.
least up where I live, front page news about what we were talking about last night about the fall colors. No fall say the headline literally in the Journal News, which covers Westchester, Rockland, Putnam County, Orange County. The headline on page one: fall foliage is a fail.
Why?
People are complaining about the fact. Well, I mean, we're coming up on the Columbus Day holiday weekend, and a lot of people, I guess, the leaf peepers like to go out and take a look at the beautiful fall foliage, the beautiful fall colors. What fall colors? I could tell you up here where I am, there ain't no fall colors. I'd say about 85 to 90% of the leaves are still on the trees, probably due, as you mentioned yesterday, to the fact that it was such a wet summer, and the leaves like to hold on to that without extra moisture. But we've seen hardly any color whatsoever. So this is going to be, as was noted in the article on the front page, this is going to be a very late year if you're looking for fall foliage colorations, because again, everything is running a few weeks, several weeks behind schedule.
Yeah, I mean, is Columbus weekend the peak weekend for you up your way? Normally,
No, I don't think that that's the case. But I think that
so why are they
people
bent
would
out of
travel.
shape?
Well, people, I think traditionally Columbus weekend, people might go up to the Catskills or places that are not, too far inland, but I mean, within striking distance to enjoy the fall colors. The article, if I believe, said that the only place where things are really looking, colorful, you have to go all the way up into the Adirondacks. For me, that's like a 4-hour drive. I'm not sure if I drive 4 hours just to see a bunch of, very colorful leaves, but that's the way it is.
Chuck Cardillo says where he is up in the Catskills, the colors are terrible this year. He says most are yellow and falling off fast. And in the meantime, here, leaves everywhere, and I mean everywhere. And it's all day today. Whenever we got a band of heavy rain to come through, the wind would pick up. Both in front of it and behind it, and you'd see all these leaves would just start coming down. Uh, I'm actually quite surprised at the, and yet there's still plenty of greenery. So, but on the other hand, up here in the elevation that I'm at, it really took till the very end of May for things to really green up. I was what happens is the canopy, the tops, because there's so many trees, so the canopy, they get the tops bloom, but the lower branches don't, and they wait, and it takes longer. So I just remember because I came up to the New York area the week before Memorial Day, and and when I came back, it was like a jungle because everything had just blossomed out in that 10-day period that I was gone. It happened very fast. But yeah, I mean, leaves are. I have mums out in the front. The flowers have already finished blooming, and they're already starting to die. It is a little that is happening a bit on the early side. Let me just, by the way, Roberson Man 95. I think he's new on the chat board and to the channel, I believe, and he hit super chat. Thank you, sir. Most appreciated and welcome. I hope you enjoy the show. Although, unfortunately, Joe, I was thinking about this. The toughest, I think I have the toughest time when the weather is like this, when there isn't if there's a storm going on someplace, you can kind of focus your attention there and talk about how that storm is impacting other areas of the United States, whether indirectly or directly, and how that storm may or may not come out. There's nothing. There's a cold front with a high building down the East Coast. This is not exactly riveting.
Even on the National Hurricane Center webpage now, Sam is gone. Nothing in the Atlantic, nothing in the eastern North Pacific, nothing in the central North Pacific. So the tropics are quiet every which way you're looking. Only one spot, there's a yellow X that's just to the aside or to the east of the northern Bahamas, and that's a disturbance which has 0% chance of cyclone formation in 48 hours and only a 10% chance of it developing into anything in the next 5 days. So you can pretty much kiss that thing goodbye. And you're right, everything is real quiet. Well, maybe that's all the best. I'm looking at the clock here, and there's a baseball game I think that a lot of people are going to be watching in about 17 minutes on ESPN, which, especially if you happen to be fans of that other New York team. I'm the fan of the blue and orange. But if you're a New York Yankee fan, you might be more interested in watching that as opposed to us in about 20 minutes or so. And maybe that's good. So maybe it's good that we don't have much to talk about. Maybe we can close shop here early tonight. Based on that.
That works for me. All right, so I've got the satellite up, and you can at least see what I'm dealing with, which is all this Gulf moisture that's rotating around this lovely upper low that is just it can't even move east. Some of the models were taking this off the East Coast. Now it's just sort of migrating westward, and is going to eventually get absorbed by the action that's going on in the west. By the way, if you look closely on the upper right, on the upper left, there's a nice looking storm that is moving eastward there. Hold on a second, my window here is going a little crazy. But you can see that nice gigantic swirl sitting out in the Pacific Ocean. And meanwhile, there's this east-west cold front that is, making some progress, slowly but surely dropping southward. And the key is the clearing line has actually made it down to southern Maine. So the key is to just get that front to push a little bit further to the south, and you can get into some of that drier air that is sitting up in southeastern Canada and in New England. Disorganized weather, that the disturbance Joe just mentioned, you can see it's just a mess of clouds well east of the Bahamas. All the cloud tops are being blown away to the northeast because we have strong upper level winds just shearing this thing apart. And there's some disturbed weather down in the central Caribbean that some models were trying to develop this sometime next week. But that's a long ways away. And we do actually have, Joe, it's in Arizona. The state of Arizona, virtually the whole state right now is under a severe thunderstorm watch.
Yeah, we were watching that on the evening news. They were talking about, lots of lightning and thunder going on out in the desert Southwest. And I said to myself, it's much too late for the monsoon season, so there must be some kind of a disturbance. And didn't we just? I mentioned this about a week or a week and a half ago. San Diego had severe thunderstorms.
Yes.
So this does not often appear or happen, at this time of the year in the Southwest, especially Southern California. They usually have hot weather, even up into San Francisco. Sometimes they have hot weather thanks to the Santa Ana, but it doesn't seem like that's happening this year.
Yeah, deep trough in the west, ridge in the east, and that's really what is driving this. By the way, Daniel Fitzsimmons on the board because he messaged me today, and might as well ask you here. Any weather history sources for the Hudson Valley besides Albany?
Any? You mean sources? Record keeping?
That you can access online.
Nah, I don't know about online. I do have in my library on the bookshelf a few books that were written by now the late great Jerome Thaler, a climatologist who kept weather records at Yorktown Heights and also for many years in the Catskills and the Adirondacks. He had lots of weather data, and he actually wrote a couple of books about Catskill Mountain and Adirondack Mountain weather and weather in the upper Hudson Valley. I don't have them at hand, but maybe you might be able to find them on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. I think he self-published those books, though. And again, the name again is Jerome Thaler, Thaeler, and he lived to the age of 90, Joe. And I very proud to say that I knew him for a good number of years. A great guy. And again, he got the Thomas Jefferson Award from the National Weather Service for his record keeping, 50 years of record keeping in the Yorktown area. And after he passed, his son, Dan Thaler, is now taken over and is looking at the changing weather conditions that are going on in the vicinity. So the Thaler name continues. But like I said, getting back to the original question, if you want weather records, reliable weather records, I think what you have to do is you have to get hold of one of Dr. Thaler's books. And again, maybe they're available on Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com. I'll look into that for everybody.
Awesome. All right, let's jump to the radar, see what's going on. We could actually look at what's happening down in the southwest, because the radar's finally quieted down. The I-90 corridor across upstate New York, Timothy Veltman messaged me about the clobbering and soaking of rain that's gone on up there, up to 2 inches or more. And I saw a post from the Albany Weather Service earlier today with the rainfall amounts from that stalled frontal boundary. Just a couple of scattered light showers have popped up north of Route 84 in Connecticut and in New York State back to the Catskills, and a couple of showers also in in Pennsylvania between between Williamsport and Scranton. And then we have where the frontal boundary is further to the south. You're seeing some showers and storms across Chesapeake Bay down into southern Virginia. And then here's what I had to deal with today. Now, of course, everything's kind of moved a little bit to the west. There's not a whole lot happening where I am in North Georgia at the moment, although it's no fun taking your dog for a walk when it's, when you're drowning outside with heavy rain. But you see the banded nature of this. So that's due to the upper low, which is very obvious on the loop. But when you watch the rotation here, it is the counterclockwise rotation back in northern Mississippi and moving, inching to the west. So I'm probably going to keep an eye on the stuff that's off the Florida coast here, because that'll probably move up for me for later tonight and tomorrow. Meanwhile, there's the southwest action. You actually have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that are up in parts of southern Arizona, and also up in and around Flagstaff, seeing some heavy storms to the east of Flagstaff, and one that's to the south of them, moving northeastward, and a couple of scattered showers in Southern California, but inland, not near San Diego, and another band from that ocean storm in the Pacific coming in with rainfall. You see the severe weather risk for tonight in Mississippi, and again, that slight risk, which comes with a 2% tornado risk. You don't see that tornado risk too often in Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't even remember ever seeing, I've seen, tornadoes occur, let's say in Colorado, for example, and Wyoming and Nebraska, but Arizona, that's a very, very unusual situation.
Yep. Just some general thunderstorms tomorrow, except a small area of marginal risk in northern Alabama. There's no severe weather risk beyond day 2, at least on the current forecast. And the folks at WPC, with their rainfall, the Northeast, Joe, down to the Delmarva Peninsula, less than a quarter or less than a tenth, and in some areas, no precip for the next 7 days. You see the concentration there in North Georgia, a little patch of 3 to 5 inches. So that's on top of what's fallen today. I really didn't check to see what the airport got in terms of rainfall, but I got to believe we got every bit of an inch to an inch and a half in some places. So there could be several inches more. Also, you see up in the northern plains, in around the Great Lakes, half an inch to an inch or so. In the northern Rockies, getting some heavy precip there, and also in the Pacific Northwest, and of course in the Southwest. So nothing much, I don't know, Joe, nothing much has really changed since yesterday, short and long range. I haven't even looked at the new GFS, so I'm just about to bring it up now. We'll see what it'll be. As much a surprise to me as it will be to our audience if they haven't seen it yet. Here we go. I had it stopped raining here around 2:30 this afternoon. I had to get my dog to the dog park because he was not a happy camper today. When it rains, he's upset. Let's put it that way. When he's upset, I'm upset. So
I don't know whether I don't know how many of you out there are fans of the comic strip Mary Worth. Mary, and in case you aren't, Mary Worth has been around for a good number of years, and she's like a woman who just everybody gravitates to Mary, and Mary gives her opinion about everything or gives people advice. And in the current Mary Worth, Joe, there's a character who's always having trouble with women, and his name is Wilbur. He's bald and he's got thick glasses or whatever, and he's just gotten a dog, and he figures the dog is going to help keep his temper down. And the first thing the dog did was chew up Wilbur's shoe. And he got very upset at the dog for that. And then he met a woman in the dog park. And the woman said, well, you probably have to change his, probably have to get him some new chew toys. And Wilbur today said, chew toys?
yeah,
I'm supposed to get, what are those? Chew toys?
yes, mine is destroyed. All the chew toys he's had. Well, here's your problem.
Yeah.
By the way, here's your problem. You've got an upper low that's sitting in Mississippi, Arkansas, essentially trapped. There's there's no place for it to go. There is absolutely no flow of air coming out of northern Canada into the United States in any way, shape, or
Right.
form. The continent,
Right.
the 48 states, anyway.
Contiguous.
The contiguous, yes. Meanwhile, deep trough dropping down into the west, and you can see that I've kind of outlined right in here that's this short wave that is from Las Vegas southeast to the coast of Mexico is lifting up and around. So that is the trigger mechanism for the severe weather that's going on there today. And of course, that whole trough drops down. The upper low begins to weaken and lift northward, and we can say goodbye to that. And as we move through the weekend and into next week, a ridge builds along the East Coast, which is just fine and dandy, which is where we're actually in a ridge position now, but it just kind of reorients itself a bit. And look at that deep trough next week, Monday, dropping into the western part of the United States. That is one wrapped up upper low that moves down into California and Nevada. So, this is not going to be hot weather for them for sure. It's just the opposite, really. And that lifts up as a rather strong feature into Utah, Wyoming. Probably going to see some snow out of this, I think, and into North Dakota before going straight up into Canada. Nothing can move west to east in this pattern. Look at this. I mean, this is crazy. You finally get something that breaks through a week from Sunday that comes through in the Northeast, and it's weak. Now, later in the forecast period, we get a really amplified look here on this particular run. I don't know how real it is, but this is all due to you got this negative NAO, and that's going to continue for the next 2 weeks. You just take a look at the latest teleconnections. It stays pretty much negative right through past October 16th, and at least till the 18th, which I think is as far as this forecast goes. And the big problem with the troughing in the west is the fact that the PNA is negative. It's very strongly negative now. It comes off, tries to go neutral. You got a couple of members that actually try to pop positive. But unlike yesterday, this is off the 0Z run from last night. So who knows what tomorrow's will show. But most of the members are negative also for the next 2 weeks. So if you're looking for anything to change as far as our weather is concerned in the next 2 weeks, it really isn't going to, not much is going to be happening here. It just isn't.
We're not going to have much to talk about. We'll have to ask the chairman to come up with some. Maybe we could have something like the Briller Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. That'll give us something to talk about.
Oh, good Lord.
Meanwhile, all of you have been watching Jeopardy as I do every night or whatever. I can't believe this one guy. He's a PhD student from New Haven, Connecticut, and he's been on now. This was, I think, his 35th or 36th consecutive game.
Mm-hmm.
He's now second only to Ken Jennings. Joe, he has amassed a total now of something like $1.3 million, and he just keeps on going.
on the original show, going back to
You
the
could only go
5 days.
You could only go 5 days. 5 days.
5 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they won't go broke. They have enough sponsorship to pay for it.
Well, if he keeps going the same way he has been going, Ken Jennings' record may be in jeopardy. No pun intended. We'll see. But you know what? The ironic and the sad thing about it is, and I got really nailed by a couple of people on Facebook when the Holzhauer, James Holzhauer,
Mm-hmm.
when his run ended on Jeopardy. I read about it in the Daily News that morning. It says tonight James Holzhauer is going to lose after X number of days or whatever. And I made a mention of that on Facebook. And you would believe, Joe, people coming at me saying, "Thanks a lot, Joe Rayo, for telling us. Thanks a lot."
Well, you're supposed to.
Really ruined it.
You're supposed to say, I have a spoiler here, so if you don't want to listen to it or don't read any further, did you have to always? Yeah, that's why I don't. I don't. Yeah,
But
no.
my comment on Facebook, which was not taken to heart, was, hey, it was in all the newspapers. I even heard a few radio
this
stations
was not
make
exactly
mention of
breaking news, but
I mean, everybody knew about it. And I suspect that this guy who's been now going for like 35, 36 straight days, when his run comes to an end, we will hear about it first on newspapers, televisions, radio, whatever like that. And that will only make ABC happy, because that will tell ABC everybody is going to tune in that particular night to watch this guy finally fall. And so I didn't see anything in today's newspaper, so I knew nothing was going to happen. Maybe tomorrow, we'll see.
All right, let's run through the GFS, because there really isn't much to speak of here with stuff going on. So we'll see what the east looks like, and of course, again, enough of that high. How far south does it build? By the way, just as a reference point, I've got the 21Z surface map, and the front is now down in the southern part of the Delmarva Peninsula, south of Washington, D.C., across West Virginia, back through Kentucky, and then obviously the upper low and a surface low there in Mississippi. That low is actually moving westward, and then this higher pressures up in Canada, trying to push southward. So it'll depend on how much success it has. And you see the rain that lines up to the southwest can't really get here. One high is replaced by another. A couple of scattered showers there around on Sunday. But other than that, that doesn't really look like anything to write home about. And in that area of lower pressures off the southeast coast, where the models were, at least the GFS kept trying to do something down there, nothing's happening. Weak little low and an inverted trough, and that's it. You can see that storm I was just talking about here in the west. That deep upper low is reflected by a surface low there in northern Colorado, and looks like some areas might get a fair amount of snow and maybe the higher mountaintops. Then on up into western Montana, in eastern Montana, it's actually mostly rain, and then that lifts up northward. And here's our next front, and we're talking Sunday the 17th before anything of meaning approaches. That's a long stretch to go without getting much in the way of precip. There's a little bit of precip, Joe, next Tuesday and Wednesday. It looks like maybe a little bit of that upper low gets kicked up to the northeast, and a couple of showers come over the top of the ridge, which is what the model's showing on this one. Who knows if it'll be there tomorrow? But there's really nothing here of consequence, of importance through the next 11 or 12 days at the very least.
Well, the Climate Prediction Center pretty much was on target when they had projections of above normal temperatures. We're certainly into that in the overview of things, and below normal precipitation. You said it, Joe. Over the next 10 or 11 days, a front here, a front passage there. Otherwise, nothing much to write home about. And right, that the next chance for any significant precipitation here will indeed be on Sunday, and then maybe a minor little system coming on through early next week.
Right. And nothing new from Miami, from the Hurricane Center with that disturbed weather off the southeast coast. I just checked the new forecast. it's a big paragraph that says it's not going to develop. So
full of words, full of words and music and signifying nothing.
Yes, exactly. Oh, good Lord. All right, like I have Thriller Jeopardy for you. So let's see if we can get everybody to play along, but I have the answers. So today today's Thriller Jeopardy is brought to you by the letter M. M as in the 6 retired storms in the last, they all occurred in the last 25 years, and they begin with the letter M.
All right. Well, I know at least half for 3 of those 6 names. Number 1, which is very easy for me. Number 1 was named, not specifically named after, but my daughter has the same name, Maria. So that I know is number 1.
Right.
Number two, we had this 5 years ago. You know, it seems like only about a year or 2 ago that this storm was around, but it's been 5 years already. Matthew.
Correct.
That's another M storm, and then the storm that I think WeatherWise magazine referred to as monstrous Mitch, and that really did a number on Central America, I think, not the United States or even Mexico, but parts of Central America.
Correct.
And
so you got 3.
And, 3. The other 3, who knows?
Well, one of them, 3 of them occurred in the last 5 years. Okay. The other 3.
Okay.
The other 3 were from 2001 and before. So it's kind of odd. There was like a 15-year gap there where no M storms were retired, but then again, perhaps on some years they didn't even get to the M storm. But
I think Mitch was in the late 1990s.
98.
It was
Hurricane
right,
Mitch,
right.
1998. Matthew in 16, Maria in 17, and then there was one in 18.
Really?
Yes.
And would you going to give me a hint as to whether or not? Well, wait a minute. Maria, you said was
17.
Maria, you said was in 17. So that means that the storm in 18 had to be a male storm.
Very yes.
Get it, Joe? A male storm.
A male storm. Yes, I got it.
Male storm. No,
yes, I got it.
All right. But amazingly, I blank out on this now. You and I,
October.
we back in the years, we used to have this like top of our head now.
Exactly. October. It was an October storm. Gulf of Mexico. First Category 5 to go into the Florida Panhandle.
Oh, the Labor Day storm of 1930. Well, no, that's not it.
No.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
Michael.
My middle name. I should know that, right?
Right.
Named after the archangel.
Yes. Do you know that was my uncle Angelo's real name? Was Archangel.
Really?
Yes.
Archangel Chianti?
No. Petrelli.
Okay.
But I stumbled on his was it the manifest, I think, of the boat that my Aunt Nunziella and him came to America on, and his first, and I was, and it kind of makes sense to me now because as a kid, we lived next door to them, and my aunt we used to call him Uncle Angelo, but she would call him Archange. That's how she would call him, say Archange, So I never understood what that, I never quite made the connection there until I saw this. It says Archangel, Archange. Yes, that was it. He was a Yankee fan, Joe. He was a man that if you saw him, very imposing, and you'd be, he never smiled. So you never saw him smile. So if you were a kid, you were like deadly afraid of him. And he used to take me to Yankee games at the stadium, and I have a lot of good memories. He was a really good, really nice man. Outside the old song, you say, beneath that rough exterior. It really fit him. He had a very rough, rugged-looking exterior, and you'd be terrified of him if you saw him. But he was just terrific. And anyway, that's you stirred a memory. The other two, by the way, I have no real memory as to what areas they impacted. One was in 1995, and the other was in 2001.
Were they male or female names?
Both female names.
Both female. All right, so let's go through some names. Maud.
No.
And then there was Maud.
And then yes.
No, all right. There's something about Mary.
No.
No. Martha.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's a female version of one of the male names we just mentioned.
The female version of one of the male names
that we just talked about.
Oh, well, what are we talking? Like Michael?
Right.
Michael would be. What would a female version? Michael.
Michelle.
Michael. I was just going to say Michelle. Michelle.
Right.
My gal. Yeah.
My belle.
My belle. Marilyn?
Marilyn is one of them, yes, and Michelle was the other one. So you had Marilyn, Mitch, Michelle, Matthew, Maria, Michael. And which of these, as a bonus, which one was the deadliest?
I'm going to get in trouble if I say.
No, just answer the question.
Well, I would say Mitch.
Mitch was the deadliest. 20,000 were killed in Central America. And the chairman hitting super chat tonight. Also, thank you, Mr. Scott, and thank you for the interesting adventures of retired hurricane names beginning with the letter M.
By the way, the reason why I said Marilyn, you think about Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
But believe it or not, Joe, the first thing that popped into my head when I thought about Marilyn was the Courageous Cat episode when Minute Mouse was in love with Marilyn Mouse.
Oh, gee, Courageous.
Marilyn Mouse, Courageous.
Oh, God. I always had that idea of a Courageous Cat Minute Mouse public service announcement for safe sex, but I'm going to just leave. I'm going to let that lay.
Yeah. Why don't you?
Frog, see?
Why don't you get to the? Let's get to the sponsors and get the hell out of here.
Yes. Well, we still have them. The Joe and Joe Weather Show, brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs this holiday season at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York. The telephone number is 631-957-5106. The website is liholidaylighting.com, and Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. Just a stone's throw away, by the way, from Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini. Their phone number is 631-756-1125. Best prices you're going to find anywhere in the tri-state area and beyond on salt this year, folks. So give them a call. You snow removal guys, get your orders in early, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. All right, what did I do with here we go. So here we are. All right, so I guess we're back tomorrow night to tell everybody that there isn't a whole lot happening, but we will be here at 7:30 Eastern time.
Indeed.
All
We
right,
will.
folks. Have a great night. And by the way, additional weather coverage for those of you who are interested as we get into the winter season is on my weather platform at patreon.com/meteorologist Joe Chaffee. It is a subscription platform, and the link is pinned to the top of the chat conversation. I appreciate those of you who have joined. We're 350 members strong, and you can message me there anytime. So there you go. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Nighty night.